Hi, I'm Tressa, a trainer at the National Sales Center, and I'll be joining you on your journey through the 6-step sales process. In this course, you'll learn the tactical and technical skills that will allow you to go out and experience success in your sales career. The first step is build rapport. In this step of the series, you'll learn about task and relationship tension, how to build trust, and the characteristics of likability. Let's dive in.
So why is step one so important? Well, step one is where we start to lower the relationship tension and start to build that foundation of trust and credibility throughout the sales cycle. The stronger the relationship is on the front half of the sales conversation, the easier it's going to be to close. Why? Because you haven't asked for the sale. You haven't asked for money, contract, anything. So none of the negative, contentious, kind of awkward asking for the sale has happened. So you have a lot of slack. You have a lot of wiggle room here to get to know this person, to ask questions that you might use at a later time because there's no tension.
No tension, all hype. Come on.
I think when most folks who are not in sales think about a salesperson or think about a sales process, they think about that charismatic, energetic, disarming, super personable individual. They're the life of the party. It's not always the case. It's a part of the process, but it's not the whole thing.
Think of the person that sold to you that you admire the most. What did they do to build rapport? A way to practice is write down the scenario. What did they say? How did they act? More importantly, how did they make you feel?
How I think about building rapport is when you and the prospect lower your professional guard and just start talking to each other as humans. It takes shape in the form of the due diligence we do before we even meet that individual or we call them. Go on LinkedIn, find your prospect. They'll list some of the hobbies or interests they have. They'll list some of the nonprofits or charity work they do. They might list some of their athletics. Find out what we can and think, oh, I played this sport. I lived in this area. I can connect with them on that. Rapport building is connection. The more that you can connect with your prospect in that way, the more rapport you're going to build. There's nothing worse than calling into California from Arizona, your prospect making a reference to a street, a community event, a church, and you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea what's happening. Or even worse, you say that you don't know what they're talking about. Why? Because your prospects alarms go up. You're gonna create tension instead of rapport.
Don't do me like that, big bro.
So what are some ways that we build rapport? Humor is a big one. Oftentimes you can build rapport, although it's counterintuitive, by not doing the things that a typical salesperson would do.
We don't want to be that salesperson, right? Salespeople have a bad rep, and we don't want to be that slimy, pushy salesperson. So a way to practice not being that person is to really identify, write down the worst sales experience you've ever had. What was that person like? What did they do? Understand the characteristics that they demonstrated, and then practice not being that person.
We don't want to be this cheesy, how's the weather? How's business doing? How was your drive over? The whole point of rapport is to build a genuine and authentic relationship with your prospect. Maybe you make kind of a funny joke that puts the prospect back a little bit and they go, whoa, this person's real like I am. Tressa, Alex here with Daily's Delivery. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well, aside from the fact that I literally just saw a scorpion in the kitchen.
So what'd you do? Just pick it up and pull it apart?
I just stepped on it.
You stepped on it?
Yep.
Then what'd you do with it?
Well, then I just threw it away.
You put it in the garbage.
Yep.
Got it. So garbage man's got a treat. So not calling to kill scorpions. I'm not the pest guy. Sounds like you need him, but I am the delivery guy. Now it has to be appropriate, and appropriate is relative to your audience, but humor is a great way to connect and get into a more informal, comfortable setting with the prospect.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
A big one that you'll notice throughout our training that I use is first names. I love using individuals' first names. Why? Because the only people that know our first names are our friends and family, people we know and trust. And so unconsciously, when you're the prospect and the seller's using the name, the prospect is thinking, I really feel like I know this guy or gal, and I feel bad that I don't know their name. So here's what's really cool about using someone's first name. You'll know it's working if one of two things happens. One, if they start saying your name back to you, right? They start parroting your name back to you. The second thing is if they ask for your name. It's because you either didn't give it to them or they forgot it and they feel bad. That's your indication that your rapport building and your first name usage is starting to work. So for example, you might say, "Hey, Johnny, reason for the call. Getting tons of requests to have your food delivered on our platform. And I'm wondering, Johnny, who's the best person if it's not you?" Johnny says, "Well, it's actually Jeff." You say, "If I'm understanding correctly, Jeff's the best person to speak with. How accurate is that?" "That's accurate." "Okay, well, Johnny, I'm wondering, before you put me on with him, I want to ask you a couple questions, Johnny, right? I can start to transition now into the next formal part of the sales conversation because this individual and I are on a good wavelength."